Aquarius, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early to mid December 2025. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business, as always, and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes into energy and see what's happening for the lovely Aquarius collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for these beautiful Aquariuses out there? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Aquarius. Early to mid-December. What's the vibe? What's the energy for my good friends? Let's get this card out nice and quick, hopefully. And your birthday's getting close. Are you making any plans? You're going to invite me to the party? Okay, we got this Empress here. Beautiful. And I haven't seen her in a very, very long time. Normally her card pops out, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, in like the spring, summer. I feel like it's been months and months since I've seen this card on any reading whatsoever. It's a good sign. It's a pretty good card. So even if you're going through some rough ones, that is really nice to start off with. So much abundance. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the December subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk about her. So we see this lovely lady. She's surrounded by the flora, the fauna. She has the tree of life tattooed on her back, so she is wedged in with all this beautiful nature. She reminds me of a goddess figure. So when I see Empress energy, even though she's not the exact Empress card, I think of wind, victories, blessing, abundance, cups runneth over. It's a very fertile type of energy. We could be speaking about mothers or motherhood when we see this card. There's just something about this where there's a lot of nurturing, loving, and caring. So whether that's something you're expressing, maybe that's something you're needing right now, is a little TLC, tender love and care. But she's always a great sign. Even if you're going through some tough ones, the Empress to start off a reading is like, the good times are coming. So I love this. And it's like my cups are running over with abundance. So this is a beautiful, claimable way to start off a reading. The only downside to the Empress energy is that sometimes it can move a little too slow. So, I mean, unless there's a situation where you're cool with taking it slow and steady, awesome. But for another portion of you, there might be something that's not moving to your liking. So we're just going to let her chill out over there. We're going to take it as a positive, right? But let's see what tarot has. And yeah, I always say the first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness, shuffle it up one time and see what we got for Aquarius. And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading, my friends. And it was a reading, that's for sure. It was titled A Serious Warning. And I'd have to say it was one of the readings in my whole career as a reader, not just on YouTube, even personal private sessions, that was hitting me directly in my heartstrings. There was like 10 of Swords energy, and there were all these struggles and difficult cards. So I'm really hoping that that energy didn't come through for you, and I also hope that you weren't feeling it. That's one of the times I hope I was dead wrong. It was difficult, but before, hopefully the energy shifts if it did come through, because we're starting with a fresh slate this week, right? We're going to see what shows up this week. And as always, it could be your energy, it could be someone else's, and it's never set in stone. So let's get you 3 cards here for early to mid December for Aquarius. Yeah, it was deep. It was a deep reading, that's for sure. Okay, 4 Swords, cool. I mean, calmer, a little calmer. It's a good start. I mean, 4 of Swords, I usually prefer an action card in position number 1, but I'll take that. It's at rest. Let's get a couple more. Okay. Okay. Death card in the center. We have to look at this even more. Don't get freaked out, Aquarius, all right? Stay with me here. Let's get one more. Let's get one more here. What do we got? Okay. Tower. All right. So heavy. Heavy again, but we still have to clarify, so we're not going to get all freaked out about it. There's a lot of Scorpio energy showing up here this week. I would expect a similar vibe after what we saw last week, because the intensity I was seeing last week does not taper off in one shot. So, and you know me, I'm an optimistic reader. I'm never going to go doom and gloom just because of the energy we're seeing here. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first look, first glance, Aquarius, got a lot happening. There's a big water heavy presence. Now, on the back end, we have the Death card and the Tower. These are both, believe it or not, water energies. They tie into Scorpio or scorpionic energy. So if you have Scorpio placements, cool. You can vibe with that energy. Uh, Water represents the realm of feelings and emotions. It's the internal world, right? How we feel on the inside, how we express that. It could also represent creativity, emotional expression. Um, Partnerships is a big thing with water energy. The only downside to the water energy to me is that it always conforms to its vessel, right? It's always changing shape. So sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Water energy, it's not very solid. On the front, we have air, which is your power element. And Aquarius, as the water bearer, you are an air sign technically. So this is your power element. And even though we have water, I think you can work with this. I do, especially with your unique Aquarian gifts. But the realm of air represents the mind, logic, thought processes. It's usually very intelligent, strategic. And it's all about communication. The downside to sword energy is sometimes it could be a little cold, sometimes it could be a little detached. So we're going to have to see how all this flows. Let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we're starting with the Four of Swords. And we see this individual looks like they're laying there praying, meditating, sleeping, whatever it is that they're doing. Um, and this is one of my cards of rest, relaxation. If you've been going through quite a bit, if you've been, a lot of stuff on your emotional plate or physical plate, Spirit might want you to take a rest, take a break. This isn't, to me, a card of an ending. When I see the Four of Swords, it's just a pause of some kind. So whether you're going to put something on hold, something on pause, or slow something down, that's big here with the Four of Swords. This card does tie in heavily to spirituality, dreams, altered states of consciousness. So make sure you're paying attention to your dreams when this card is here. Now, what might be the downside of the Four of Swords? Yes, it's very spiritual. That's a great thing. But sometimes it can represent delays. Sometimes it can represent energy that's too clunky, too heavy, similar to the downside of the Empress. So we'll circle back on this. But the good thing about it is the calm attitude that it brings forth. It's an unshakable type of energy that, you know what, even though we have a tower, even though we have this card, this energy is relaxed about it, which I think is okay. Now, moving to the middle, we have the Death card. And as I said when it popped out, don't freak out. I know, like in movies and TV and stuff like that, every tarot reader and fortune teller is pulling this card out 99.99% of times. Okay. And it doesn't just mean death, right? It doesn't just mean endings. It doesn't mean tragedy. To me, this is more of a card of transformation and change. Think of like growing pains. Think of a phoenix rising from the ashes. So, not saying that these energies are coming at you this week, even if these are things you've recently or even not so recently experienced, you might be in a heavy period of transformation when the Death card is here. So we think of shifting energy, changing energy. That's what I always think of first if you're not connected to Scorpio. It's inevitable. That's a big thing with this card. But yeah, can it represent endings? Absolutely. Can it represent karma or karmic cycles or karmic connections? Absolutely. This is a big card of cycles. So we want to look at this closely. It's much more nuanced than most people give it credit for. Now, moving to the very back end, we have a similar vibe, believe it or not. We have the Tower, also scorpionic, also karmic, also can represent change. We'll talk about the positives in a moment, but this is the energy of shock. It's an energy of upheaval. So when we see the Tower, I think either we're hitting the reset button on something, fresh slate, clean slate, wipe the slate clean. That's usually a good thing. But not every tower has to be a bad one. Yes, the imagery itself is a little spooky, but it doesn't mean that, every tower, every shock, every surprise is terrible and treacherous. Sometimes towers are really good, right? Especially with the calm we have in the front. So I know I'm talking with a lot of silver lining right now, Aquarius, but I think that's important. Perspective is important when we look at towers and death cards. Um, so yeah, shocking, upheaval, all that good stuff could be good, bad, or indifferent, karmic, and it could represent wiping the slate clean and starting from scratch. So there could be a lot of you that are in that mode and mindset where it's like, all right, let's start this from scratch. But there's a lot of intensity once again. So I want to dive deeper in all of it, Aquarius. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for you. And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. What's going on that Four of Swords? Oh, and yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Aquarius, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. All right, let's get this Four of Swords. And keep very fresh in your mind, friends, while I'm getting this card out, that this doesn't have to be your energy. It could just be someone in your orbit. And another thing that I'm going to mention is that you are the creator of your story. Your perspective is very important. I said it last week with the reading as well. You could look at this and say, hell no, Kyle, this is not my story. I do not claim this, and this is not what's going to happen. And you're always right. You will always be proven right. Right? So you are the master manifester of your experience, and your perspective reigns supreme. So don't think because we're getting some difficult cards here that your story is set in stone, because it's far from it. Now, the Four of Swords, it's clarified by the Eight of Swords. This to me represents somebody that needs some sort of mental vacation. I saw a very similar thing in the Gemini reading, almost identical in the exact same space. We have the Eight of Swords. This is an energy that can sometimes feel a little cornered, a little trapped, back to the wall. On the low levels, it's just anxiety and nerves, and it could be a bit of a cabin fever type of vibe. It could be overthinking, and it could just be feeling confined and trapped. But it's also just really winding itself up. The good thing about this energy is that it can break free at any moment, right? She has swords surrounding her. She could cut those ropes and remove that blindfold quickly. She's in control. Super important to remember that. But when I see the Four of Swords, the rest, the break. Eight of Swords, it is somebody that needs a mental vacation. It is someone that they just need a break of some kind, even if it's a small break. It's just I need to get something off my mind for a little bit. So we're going to keep going. It is what it is. Let's see what the Death card has. Yeah, someone just needs to put their mind at ease. Let's go. Let's see what the Death card has. So why is it here for Aquarius? Please. Thank you. Okay. So a lot of this is in someone's mind. A lot of this is in someone's mind. We have the Four of Cups, which is another cerebral kind of thought process. And this is someone that might be worst case scenario type of thinker. Now, I know a lot of my regular viewers are very optimistic individuals. That's why we attract each other, right? But when I see death with the Four of Cups, either it is something that has already ended that you can't quite get off your mind. That could be for some of you. A chapter, an event, or something that's already concluded, but I still think about it often. If it's not that, when I see death with the Four of Cups, this energy is extremely pessimistic. So I would urge that you try your best to adjust any perspectives you have about certain things in this time. Don't always go worst case scenario. I would say do the exact opposite and think best case scenario. What's the harm, right? Like, so death with the Four of Cups, don't always think that something's going to turn out the worst or that you're always going to get the short end of the stick. This energy is doing a lot of thinking. Okay, so if this isn't you, this could be someone where their mindset is a bit of a mess. That's just how it feels to me. It feels a little bit messy. It feels a little all over the place. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. There's no judgment here. But yeah, it happened before, it'll happen again. That type of thinking. You know, or this always happens to me. Let's keep going. Let's go in on the tower. Okay, so let's see what the tower has. And we'll do a quick little recap before we get into the shadow. So why is the tower here for Aquarius? Oh, okay, I'll take it. But I just want to be prepared. Like, that's the energy. That's the energy where, like, even with the pessimism and the overthinking, it's like, no, but I just want to be prepared for everything. I'm going to say this very clearly. No human being can be prepared for every eventuality, right? We're human beings. It's part of the experience. There's always going to be things that happen. There's always going to be shocking situations. There's always going to be problems and things that pop up that we did not foresee. It just happens, right? Even with our strong manifesting and spiritual knowledge and know-how, the universe is going to do what the universe does. The material reality is going to do what material reality does. And is it wrong to be prepared for things? No. It's good in a sense, as long as you don't let that rule you. And again, no judgment. But when I see the tower with the King of Swords, it's like I will never get caught off guard. I would think of every eventuality. I would think of best case scenario, worst case scenario, and everything in between. This mind, whoever's mind is showing up here, is going a million miles a minute for whatever reason. And I think we really just need to look at this Four of Swords that we have in the front. Someone needs to relax, take a breath. Maybe Kyle of Cups will make a nice guided meditation for you to calm you down, because it's like a runaway train brain. That's the best way I can put it. King of Swords, it's all about the logic, sees things practically. And he is very stern, very serious, and it is one of your power cards once again. So nothing wrong with being prepared. This could either one represent a shocking situation that comes in, of course, a surprising one that catches someone off guard. But at the same time, I feel like not everything can be predicted. Even the best of the best tarot card readers and intuitives and you know scientists and mathematicians, everyone in the world and experts in their field cannot predict every eventuality. We're not computers. So everyone gets caught off guard a time or two, or 10, or 20, right? So when I see the King of Swords underneath this tower, it's like, all right, try your best not to think worst case scenario. Try to get the mind right. It's a matter of perspective. Whatever it is you might be experiencing, perspective is king. Perspective is key. But yeah, there could be some shocking situations and rough things going on, absolutely. But it's not going to be like that permanently. Let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow card. If you kindly look in the box, Aquarius, choppy water still, but that's okay. Position number one, Four of Swords with the Eight of Swords. Somebody needs a mental rest or a mental vacation. Listen, if there's something you're thinking about nonstop, you can continue thinking about it, but you should give yourself a break and be kind to yourself. That's how this feels to me. It's someone like the whole thing is just runaway train brain, and it feels a little messy. Um, this is someone where, and they kind of can't help themselves. Moving to the middle, we have the Death card with the Four of Cups. Either one, this is someone that thinks it happened this way before, it's going to happen that way again, or the same thing always happens to me. I live the same cycle over and over and over again. Another thing I'm picking up here is someone that's thinking in a very pessimistic light. And I do think it's super important that you just view every situation, good, bad, and indifferent, through a more neutral perspective. Yeah, nothing wrong with being prepared, like we see in the next spread with the Tower and King of Swords in the upright. Sure, could there be shocking situations, serious situations? Absolutely, with what we're seeing here on the back end. But you're never going to be able to predict everything that's going to happen. It's just not possible. There's always going to be things that pop up out of the blue. There's always going to be variables and things that we don't consider. And that's kind of what this feels like to me, where it's like the energy needs to be here. We need to be here in the Four of Swords. We need to reconnect with our intuition and our inner voice. We need to reconnect with neutrality and not let a thought or a construct or a perception rule us. That's how this feels to me. And I know that's unique. I know it's very unique. Only take it if it hits. I'm getting very specific here. Check your other alignments if none of it hits. Maybe some of you do still find value in it. But that's what I have. Please feel free to take a screenshot. Let's see what's in the shadows. And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing too. So let's get you one. What do we got for Aquarius? And if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card out. Okay. Knight of Pentacles, slow it down. Slow it down, my friends. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with something taking a little longer than you want it to. Nothing wrong with something taking its time or being slow. Nothing wrong with some boredom here and there as well. Knight of Pentacles, if you're not connected to an earth sign, is the slowest, most meticulous of all the knights. So again, if you're not connected to Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, he takes his time. And just like I've been saying with this Four of Swords, it's all about pacing. It's all about perspective. There is no rush. There is no overwhelm. Take a breath. That's what I feel like when I see this Knight of Pentacles today. Now, of course, in the shadow side, the Knight of Pentacles can represent feeling stuck. The Knight of Pentacles can represent feeling like I'm making no progress, feeling like I've plateaued, and feeling like nothing is happening or nothing is working. But that's not the case. Slow does not mean nothing. That's just how it feels to me. And I actually think this is the energy, although it's the shadow card, that would probably benefit Aquarians most. or whoever it is that's watching, cross watchers or whatever, that take a breath, relax, take your time. It's not a race. That's a big thing with this card. So you could take from this reading what you will, Aquarius. And again, you could reject it outright. You could reject it right down in the comments. And hell no, Kyle, this is not my story. And I'd be happy for you. But Aquarius, that's what I have for you this week, my beautiful friends. I'm sending you lots of beautiful love and light energy. Um, Watch the subscriber surprise after. That's what I got, my friends. Much love. I'll see you soon. If you would like further clarification on your situation, you can book a personal reading with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. My December schedule is live right now, and the spots go quick, so go check it out, see what's available if you want to have a chat with me. But for the December subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 3 copies of one of my favorite decks for all skill levels, the Gilded Tarot Royale. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed, and second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the tarot cards, which one do you resonate with most? When you see it in a reading, it's like, yeah, that's me. Put your answer in the comments. You'll be entered to win. And at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in the community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.